welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can keep seeing my videos and similar ones just like it. Every week I do meal planning, meal prepping, and little snippets of mom life, just regular day in the life stuff. So speaking of day in the life, today I am getting ready for a vacation. It's the first vacation my family has been on since March, since this whole COVID thing started. We haven't been on a vacation even since before March. It's been a long time. So we're finally getting the heck out of Dodge, and I had to do a grocery pickup. Sadly, it's going to be a vacation, but I still have to do the cooking and the cleaning. But I'm going to be surrounded by pine trees in the middle of the forest in a cabin, so I can hardly complain. So I have some meals that I'm going to be prepping today because we're leaving tomorrow. So I just want to get as much done as possible so I can just chill while we're at the cabin. So the cabin is actually it's in my husband's family. We've been going there for years. It is the most sacred, most wonderful place in the whole world, and I'm so happy and so blessed that my kids get to enjoy it. We're taking my mom with me for the first time. She could so use a vacation, you guys, you don't even know. So I'm just so excited. It's gonna be so special. And because of the whole COVID stuff, that's why we have to cook. So my husband and I both agreed that if we're gonna be cooking, we wanna cook good. We just wanna have some fall cozy dishes where we can just enjoy the cold weather and just have some meals that complement it. So I'm going to be preparing DIABLO shrimp. That is a family staple in my house. It's shrimp wrapped in bacon, and inside of it, it's got the shrimp, it's got cheese, it's got a little jalapeno. It's amazing. So we're having that one night, and the next night we're having ribeyes. This night we're gonna have either chicken Alfredo or we're gonna have some butternut squash lasagna. I don't know what to do, so I'm hoping that while I'm prepping today, I'll figure out what to make. And then for breakfast, I'm gonna make some breakfast burritos to eat on all week. And then for lunch, we're just gonna have sandwiches just to make it easy. So the first two meals of the day are gonna be kind of easy. And then dinner is where we're just really gonna splurge and have fun. If you're vacationing during COVID, you might get some great ideas on how to prep yourself. So let's get into it. So I'm starting my meal prep by getting my super colossal size shrimp. This is deveined with the tail on. I'm just sitting that under some running water that's cold, just so it gives me a little bit of time to have that defrost while I'm prepping other things. You have to have the super colossal size to do the DIABLO shrimp, because if you have them any smaller, the bacon, either the bacon will cook before the shrimp does or vice versa, and the bigger the shrimp, the better, just so you make sure everything cooks evenly. So here you're seeing me also just prep some bacon. I had peppers in the fridge, so that's what I'm using to put into my burritos. And I'm just using that and some hash brown style potatoes that I pulled out of the freezer, and I'm just gonna put that all together in a skillet to make my breakfast burritos. Showing you guys right here how I take the tails off of shrimp. Now these are deveined and they're already split in half, the exterior, so I can easily take the shell off. So what I do is I just kind of gently pinch the end of the tail and I grab that shell with me, and it just kind of falls right off. large roll of aluminum foil that I got from Sam's Club, so I just cut it right down the middle to fit the size that I needed so I didn't waste a lot of aluminum foil. And I am splitting them up between what's low carb tortillas and what's not, and I just wrap them up in foil, I throw them in sandwich bags, and that is it. For the Diablo shrimp, this is the best part, you guys. I am so excited about these. So what I do is I start by taking 1 or 2 jalapenos. You really don't need a lot, and you cut them down the middle. You get the veins and the seeds out. Make sure you're wearing gloves, or you're just really careful washing your hands in between, because you don't want to rub your eyes or touch your face or anything when you touch those chilies. And then I'm cutting a pack of bacon in half, and I'm getting a block of cheese ready. We usually use pepper jack cheese when we do this, but I didn't have it. I actually just had mozzarella cheese, so I used that and it was perfectly fine. So just cut it small enough to where you can use thin strips of both the jalapeno and the piece of cheese so you can roll it in the bacon. And my husband, it drives him nuts when I actually cut the bacon in half, but in this case I needed to stretch the bacon because I thought I had more bacon in the fridge, but I didn't. I just had 1 pack, but if I had more packs of bacon, I would use a whole strip. It's just better that way. It tastes better and it's easier to roll, but as you can see, it works just fine with a half of a piece of bacon. You just have to kind of stretch it a little bit while you're rolling it. So room temperature bacon is really crucial. What they look like prepped in all their beautiful glory. And what we usually do is we put them in grill baskets. It's a little easier to cook them on the grill that way, but we've also just lined a baking sheet with foil and stuck them in the oven for just like probably 15-20 minutes until the bacon's cooked. I would say like at 375, and just kind of keep an eye on it until everything is just kind of crispy and looks good and done on the outside. But the grill is definitely the way to go. So with that dilemma that I was having earlier with the butternut squash lasagna or the Alfredo, well, I decided to do a wonderful mashup of the two. I'm doing a butternut squash Alfredo casserole, and you guys, spoiler alert, it is amazing. You have got to try this. It's so good. So you're seeing me right here, just cut the butternut squash in half, get rid of the seeds, drizzle the insides with olive oil, season it, salt, pepper. I use garlic powder as well. I turned it face down on a foil-lined sheet, drizzled the outside a little bit with foil, and then I just slipped it into a 400-degree oven and just let that roast for about 30 minutes. And then when it was like fork tender, I took it out to cool off. And so in the meantime, I prepped for the casserole. So I had a onion, I chopped that up, and then I also had some fresh herbs. I had some rosemary and I had some sage. And so I had that in my fridge because I used that in a recipe last week, and it was just so amazing in this casserole. Like, sage goes so well with fall dishes. life moment, you guys. I had to clean up the kitchen a little bit. It was driving me nuts. I had, like, the floors were dirty, the counters were crazy with, like, you know, grocery bags and everything. That's just real life for you. When you're prepping in the kitchen, it just gets messy. That's just how it is. I had a stock pot with some diced onions sauteing in some olive oil, and I went ahead and took that cooled butternut squash and I put it in a food processor, and I put enough heavy cream in there just to help work it around the food processor and give it a smooth consistency. I would say I added maybe like a quarter to a third of a cup, and then in the stock pot I went and returned to that and I added probably about 2 cups of heavy cream. You're also seeing me add those herbs in, and then I just gave everything a stir and let the flavors meld. I added about 3/4 of that large container of Parmesan cheese, and then I saved the remaining for layering in the casserole. And speaking of which, I did not record me assembling the casserole, but what I did was I took my cooked lasagna noodles. I used about 3 sheets per layer, and I laid down sauce first, then the noodles. Then I also had a ricotta mixture of just ricotta cheese, some of those herbs that I also chopped up for the sauce, and salt and pepper. I didn't even add an egg or anything. It was just plain ricotta cheese. And then after the ricotta goes down, I put more sauce and some more cheese, and then I started over with the noodles, the ricotta, the sauce, and the cheese, and I just repeated that until I got to the top, and I just put some more cheese on top. Guys, I'm gonna let these beautiful views just speak for themselves. We had so much fun. Here is beautiful Alpine. I wanted to bake with my mom at the cabin, so we ended up making pumpkin bread. The recipe that we used is amazing, you guys. I have it linked down below for you. You definitely need to try it. It calls for a whole cup of olive oil, but my mom isn't the biggest fan of olive oil, so we used vegetable oil, and I mean, it was amazing. Like, I didn't even miss the olive oil. I'm sure it would have given it like a more earthy flavor, so I do want to try it with the olive oil, but it was so good. My mom and I wake up before everyone else, and so when we would wake up, we would grab that pumpkin bread, we would go get our coffee, and we would sit on the patio and just look at the changing leaves, listen to the birds. It was perfect. Guys, thanks so much for coming along with me today to see how my vacation meal prep came together. I hope this video gave you some ideas and inspiration on planning ahead if you decide to go somewhere with your family this holiday season. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already so you can continue to see my weekly meal preps, meal planning, and everyday mom life and homemaking life. I'll see you in my next one.